Joining us now, Republican Congressman from Florida, Matt Gaetz, and member of President Trump's Congressional Legal or Defense Team, Republican Congressman Mark Meadows. And both of you, gentlemen, thanks for staying up with us. You were at different locations tonight. What did you see? Because I was surprised there were such big numbers for a president whose nomination's not seriously being contested.
Well, we saw standing room only kind of crowds. I was way north in northern Iowa, up in Franklin County, Hampton, Iowa. We had record crowds, standing room only. And I can tell you that they're not only excited, but they're getting results, unlike my Democrat caucus.
You know.
I mean, here's the interesting thing is we're waiting for results from the Democrats. Well, we've been waiting for 3 years for results from the Democrats in Congress, so this shouldn't be a surprise.
All right, Matt, you were closer here.
Sure. I was in one of the bluest areas of the bluest county in Des Moines, Iowa, and we had far more Republicans show up than were expected. Standing room only, had to go find extra chairs. And we didn't just have Republicans. We had people who had been Democrats or independents who wanted to come show their support for President Trump. And I think you see this extended deployment of surrogates from the Trump campaign getting out there and delivering the message on the USMCA, on wage growth that is historic, on border security that's improving. It is a stark contrast to what you see in the Democratic caucus, where they can barely manage a caucus process, much less manage the affairs of our great country.
Okay, so while this is playing out, tomorrow night is the State of the Union address. We understand the president's going to be optimistic and hopeful and talk about unity, which seems like we all need a speech on that at this point. But he's still got this vote on the impeachment issue on Wednesday. We expect him to be acquitted, maybe bipartisan acquittal. I don't know. But
we're going to have the acquittal on President Trump before we get the Iowa
We might.
results,
I mean, that's not how the calendar was planned, but it may turn out that way. We have a little bit of the former Vice President Biden, who has been here campaigning and may not have had a great night or a great night. We don't know. But I want to play a little bit of what he had to say on the Today Show today. He was pressed about Hunter and his business dealings and whether he's going to end up being investigated. We do not have that. So I'll tell you what he said. He said, it's a good thing no one's found anything wrong with his dealings with Ukraine, except they say it sets a bad image. We've been told multiple times this has been fully debunked. There's nothing there. I asked Dr. Jill Biden about it. Our interview with her is coming up as well. So what do you say to those who say, listen, these are business dealings. People in Washington do this. Your last name gets you places. It doesn't mean he was doing anything corrupt.
The reason that this began as a bipartisan effort against impeachment and why it will likely end as a bipartisan vote for acquittal is because everybody in America knows that the Hunter Biden deal was rotten. Like there's no one out there actively defending having your ne'er-do-well relatives out getting tens of thousands of dollars a month from a foreign business when you are assigned work with that foreign country on behalf of the United States of America. It is so obviously corrupt. It is so obviously rotten. Pam Bondi was brilliant in her presentation of that evidence before the Senate, and I think that it really limits any sympathy that anyone would have for Joe Biden. I mean, look, everyone from the Trump campaign that was out in these precincts got reports as to what was going on in the rooms with the Democrats. We've heard from a lot of our colleagues that Joe Biden was failing to meet viability, bare viability. I mean, look, if we'd have gotten these results, Joe Biden might have gotten out of the race tonight. What if he was fourth place tonight? The former vice president of the United States who can't break the top three in his own party?
We don't know.
It could be catastrophic. But, well, listen,
we don't know.
I got a guess for you, Shannon. If Joe Biden would have won tonight, we probably would have some results right now.
Well, we might. But this fight on the Hill still continues. We heard a number of folks saying today things about, this president can escape by this acquittal. It's always going to have an asterisk by it. We didn't get the full, witnesses. We didn't get the full. So he can't declare victory. And that anybody who votes to acquit him, I can't remember exactly what I think it was Chairman Adam Schiff said today, is essentially linked to him with iron or with steel or metal. They're always going to be linked to him in this terrible moment in history.
Well, I would rather be linked to President Donald Trump than to Adam Schiff. I've been in the room with Adam Schiff, and let me just
like the three-legged race from hell to be linked to Adam Schiff.
I mean, it's, when we start to see all of this, Shannon, here's the interesting thing. They've focused more on Russian interference with the election, and they can't get results tonight. I mean, maybe they need to focus on their own apps when we start to look at it instead of trying to blame everybody else for their problems. But here is what we do know. This president continues to produce results. We're here in Iowa. Over 22,000 jobs that have been created in this state alone. Unemployment below 3%. USMCA deal, as Matt was talking about, a real help to farmers, whether it's soybeans or corn or pork. The top three things that they talk about and actually produce here. This president has not only paid attention, but he's engaged the senator, Senator Grassley, Senator Ernst, actually having meetings with the president to say, how can we help those that are in Iowa? But it's not just Iowa. It's every state in the country that this president is engaged. They can put an asterisk after his name. The asterisk is really going to have to be for the accomplishment that this president was able to deliver in spite of the investigations.
And the caucus goers I met with were only intensified in their support for this president because all he has gone through to get the job done.
Yeah, they feel like he's been bullied by a Democrat Party that's more concerned about trying to beat him in 2020 than they are about producing for the very people they're supposed to represent each and every day.
Let me ask you really quickly, we just have a short amount of time. In the numbers that we looked at with this Fox News voter analysis, now this is Democratic caucus goers, but they are not thrilled with the economy. They say their families aren't doing well or they're holding steady. So is it just that they don't like the president, or are there real people who are struggling economically?
Yeah, I can tell you, I judge it a lot based on Uber drivers, waiters, and waitresses. And this morning, actually, Brenda coming in said, let me tell you what I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote for the status quo because I'm doing so much better today than I did 3 or 4 years ago.
It's a blue-collar boom that's happening right now in this country, and the very people the president said he would give a voice to will send him back to the White House.
Okay, we will see if your predictions hold. That's what we're dealing with tonight, predictions. Not hard information, but thank you both for coming in.
Good
to see you. Thank you, Shannon.